last video on my 2003 BMW M5, we got right to work replacing the clutch that barely was hanging on. That's not tire spin. We slipping. I bought the car with a crack in the front bumper, so while waiting for parts for the clutch, I decided it's a great time to pull the bumper off and start the repair process so we can get it ready for paint. I got the bumper completely stripped down and now it's ready for repair. And that is exactly where we are going to start right now. Still waiting on a clutch and a couple of, rear main seals and pilot bearings and things like that, but I've got plenty to do on this car, starting right here with the damaged bumper. So flip this thing over. Here is where we need to focus the cracked area on the bottom or driver's side where the previous owner hit a curb or a driveway or something. So basically we need to start this repair. I'm gonna drill the crack or the end of the crack on both ends so that it doesn't propagate any further. Then we're gonna use my plastic welder that just showed up that I bought so we can hopefully get some strength and structure back in this thing, along with some mesh reinforcement, and of course some epoxy. Here's a piece that came off one of the old pork chop things that the internet calls them, the lower splash valance things. Gonna try and get that back in there as well so that we can ensure when this is all back together, our new lower splash shield, since this one is junk, will bolt up and fit properly. So I've got some plastic welding to do, some reinforcing to do, some epoxying to do, probably lots of sanding and body work. Let's see what we can do to get this bumper repaired and body worked and one step closer to paint. All right guys, real quick break from the BMW action to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, 3W Floor Mats. I've been using their floor mats in my 2018 F350 for a few months now, and they are by far my favorite aftermarket floor liner that I've ever used. My personal favorite thing about these mats is the material. It's more of a rubber material instead of a plastic material like you'll find in other floor liners. That's important to me because it means they're not slippery. They're not like other mats where you put your feet on them and they immediately slip, or you put stuff on them and they slip. They grip. but they still have all those same easy to clean properties. These are made using a Vigor mold technology so that they're durable and resistant to everyday wear and tear, and they're gonna maintain their shape and quality over time. Of course, they're a breeze to clean, whether it's dirt, mud, sand, or if you're like me in the Northeast right now, tons of snow and ice and salt. All that stuff that you don't want getting embedded into the carpet of your vehicle. These floor liners are going to protect your vehicle, protect your carpet, and protect your investment. Just pull them out, shake them off, rinse them off, wipe them down if you want, put them back in. They're going to look brand new. They're going to stay looking brand new. And most importantly, they're going to make sure that the carpet underneath stays looking brand new as well. Each floor mat is custom made using a 3D body scanning technology to achieve a perfect fit with the curves of the interior, making sure that there's no gaps or anywhere that dirt or sand or anything like that could get trapped. So if you guys are looking for the best floor mats for your vehicle, check out 3W. I've tried them all. I'm really, really impressed with 3W. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for you guys. It's gonna be a couple bucks off there with a discount code, so check them out. Now I'm gonna go put this back in the passenger side of my truck. Let's get back to the BMW. All right, next day, bumper repair is complete. I know it doesn't look pretty right now, but it will. Just give me some time, and more importantly, this thing is solid. No more cracks, no more damage. She is all back together. Also, while we're in there, I figured, even though New Hampshire requires a front plate, as most states do, I never run them. Front plates don't belong on sports cars, and it's only illegal if you get caught. Remember that. So I went ahead and filled the plate holes since we're going to be painting this thing anyways. There was also some divots on either side. So buzzed the high areas down and filled in the low areas, not only from the back, but also from the front with ABS and plastic welds. Now, obviously, most of the repair work was on the back here. And again, it's not pretty, but man, is it solid. So I was able to graft in this piece that was completely broken off. And I used my new plastic welder, which, man, I wish I bought one of these things years ago. You basically melt on these little steel strengthening things. So the whole length of the crack, I just melted together. Even got my wife out here so I could hold it kind of in on one part that was kind of bulging out, hold it into position. This thing was sock rolled just with these things. I mean, this is the way to repair bumpers, you guys. I'm sure body shops are probably already doing this, but so that's what I did on all of this stuff. Even grafted in a few little custom pieces here where the tabs had ripped off. But then I took it a step further, added some plastic welds. I even melted in some ABS. You put on this little smoothing thing and just kind of smear and melt it all together. And then you can, add in whatever plastic you're working on. I assume this is ABS. It seems like it bonded pretty well. Added a little piece of steel mesh here for extra insurance, and then kind of lathered all that together with plastic welder. So again, it's ugly, but this thing is solid now. That ain't going nowhere. Flick strap. So all that's left to do on the front, I say all that's left to do, this is probably a couple hours worth of work, is body work basically. Got to level this out. Got to level all my epoxy out here, make sure it's all smooth, flat. Probably start with like 180 or 220, then move up all the way until we get to probably we'll do the whole bumper with 600 or 800 and get it ready for paint. Of course, it's probably going to need to be washed and then, cleaned. And then I don't even know where I'm going to paint this thing yet. Normally I'd use my inflatable paint booth, which has saved me many times. I could make a little booth here in the corner, which we've done in the past, but we are heading for a record cold weekend. I think with the wind chill, we're looking at like minus 25 this weekend. So I don't know if any painting is going to be happening. We might have to transition back to clutch work, but for right now, I'm going to do what I can here in the garage. At least get this thing sanded and ready to go, maybe even primed in. And then we'll see if I go full idiot and try and paint it in here on the coldest weekend of the year, or if I just wait till the weather gets better or find someone with a paint booth. But got to keep moving until then. right, well, don't mind the heater. It's about 20 degrees, extremely windy, and the temperature is dropping fast. So thing's gonna be running a lot. Anyways, we got parts. Finally, like over a week later, my dual mass LUK flywheel and my clutch showed up. So this is basically the original setup. LUK makes a lot of flywheels and clutches. I put an LUK clutch and flywheel in one of the C606s I built. They were also the original manufacturer. So I've answered my own question that I had in the last video. The bolts are in there, so there's new bolts ready to go. So that's good. I think I ordered one of these clutch arms or clutch forks because it was like $8 or something like that. Just good to have. Then we got our clutch kit here. So we have our pressure plate and the clutch disc is below that. Then you've got the clutch alignment tool, and it looks like, I guess they included a pilot bearing as well, which we just pressed in. You guys just saw that. Here's your clutch release bearing, or throw out bearing as some call it. This is a shipping lock I've researched that like holds the, this is a self-adjusting clutch. I don't really know what that means. I guess this lock kind of keeps these springs so you can install it, and then once the clutch is in, you remove this whole thing and it kind of moves into place. So that's that. I think where we left off was the bumper. Got it all sanded down, 98% smooth. There was one little low spot right there, and then a tiny little one right there. So I hit that with a little bit more 2-part epoxy. Same thing down here, got it most of the way there, and then found a couple spots that I didn't really like, so came back for round 2. So this just needs a quick final sand. But I mean, this is where the crack was. You know, this is, you guys can't, you know, feel through YouTube, but this is butter smooth. So we're ready for a quick round of primer and then paint. I'm almost positive this is the original paint on this bumper. You've got raw plastic, primer, black is base coat, and then this scratched up area is clear coat. So this is the original paint here. And she's got some orange peel in her. So I don't know, I would love to paint this thing somewhere in my garage or in the booth. I think we can do as good or better than that and save a couple bucks. So now it's just going to boil down to, is the weather going to cooperate, and am I going to be able to paint anytime soon? We'll see. I might try to get it primed in tomorrow. But moving under the car, new rear main seal came in today, so got a new one of these pressed in there, and then of course we got a new gasket all the way around. You put RTV on the corners like you do in most applications like this, and then all these are torqued to spec. Punched the pilot bearing out and put the new pilot bearing that I got in there. I had a socket that actually fit in there perfect. So this is ready to have a flywheel go back on it. I did notice that these bolts go into like oil jackets, so they have these little sealing washers on there. I don't know if those are one-time use or not, but I put a little bit of black RTV on them just for extra insurance, just under the bolt head, but we'll see. Still waiting on my clutch release line there that is leaking. Hopefully that comes tomorrow. For good measure, I dropped the oil to make sure we didn't have any oil leak out of the rear main while we were doing that. Oil looked very, very good. It's cold in here, so it's basically been leaking out like molasses. I noticed there was a small leak here at this fitting, and now I know why. It's because it's stripped out. Drain bolt went from righty-tighty to righty-loosey, and I guess in doing some research online, that's pretty common. Yeah, she's chewed up in there. So I think at this point I need, at the very least, like a helicoil kit to fix this, and then of course a new gasket here, which it's now Friday night, so I'm not gonna have that till next week. But I got a helicoil kit, I think, ordered, and then I'll get a gasket ordered ASAP on Monday. We can start this repair. So I don't want to put the transmission back up yet because it's going to be in the way of that clutch release line. But there's no reason we can't install clutch, flywheel. We'll see how much we get done, but let's get to work. Love that. Love how this torque wrench is. Come on, Cobalt! Cobalt tools. You guys probably already knew this, but they're junk. It's like the 4th ratchet this week I'm gonna have to warranty. Now we gotta use the 3/8 drive to torque to 105 Newton meters. Because that's what we got that works right now. Maybe. There we go. Yep! Yeah, buddy! Lightweight! Ain't nothing but a peanut! Guess my garage door seal needs work. Oh, the nor'easter is here. We are expected to get 2 feet of snow in combination with the record cold we had this weekend. Good news is we're making progress in the garage. New flywheel and clutch are in, all lined up. New pilot bearing, of course, is in there. Rear main seal is all sealed up. Got my new clutch line in. Had to take apart some of the interior up here, but again, definitely glad that I had the driver's seat out to do that. Working under the dash is never fun, so we'll get this bled up, and that hopefully should be good to go. Got some random parts just because they were cheap, including these new bushings for this shift rod linkage support thing. Absolute pain getting this shifter thing out. Of course, you can't get this out unless you unbolt these tiny little Allen screws on each side, so that was fun kind of maneuvering that. But we got a couple brand new bushings in this thing. Everything else is tight, greased all this up, that's good. On the transmission side, I put a new shift fork in there. It's kind of interesting design. This little clip just kind of holds everything on. Put an aftermarket brass pivot ball in there. Again, it was just cheap on Rock Auto, so I threw it in the cart. The release bearing or throw out bearing or whatever you want to call this thing right here, new, came with the clutch kit. Cleaned up the input shaft, put a little bit of grease on there, cleaned up this right here. This should be good to go back together. Put 2 new transmission mounts on this thing. The other ones kind of fell apart when I took it out. This thing says it has lifetime oil, which I don't know what you BMW guys think about that. I took the fill cover out here and took a look at the fluid in there. It looks basically brand new, so I don't see any need to change it right now, but I think that even if we had to change it once the transmission is back in, it would not be that big of a deal. So that's good. Over here on the bench, you can see some of the parts that I've replaced. Here's the clutch line. This thing was absolutely smoked. So good while you're in. All this is good while you're in there stuff. Here's the transmission mounts. They basically fell apart when I took them out. Here's that clutch locking tool for the self-adjusting clutch. So I popped that out and we should be good to go there. Here's the old release bearing. Here's one of those bushings that I had to hammer out there. Here's the old pivot fork, if you want to call it. It's like nylon or something. You can see it's kind of worn. And there's the fork itself. So up next, of course, is the fun part of getting the transmission back in the car, which doesn't matter make, model, getting the input shaft to line up and getting everything seated and then getting it seated against the block is always a struggle, always a fun time. So nice, love that for me right now. So I'm gonna tackle that, I think, in the morning. Right now, Patriots are playing the Broncos in the AFC Championship game, so go Patriots. By the time I edit this video, we'll see what actually happened. But tomorrow morning, bright and early, I'm going to get myself snowblowed, hopefully out of here, and then we will get this transmission back in and just continue with reassembly. Catch you guys then. Oh my gosh. That is up to the door handle. I think we're gonna need to shovel a path to the garage. This is crazy. Let's get to work. Up past my knees. Oh my goodness. Looks like the Super Duty has a tonneau cover on it. Wow, this is nuts. Past my knees. All right, let's get the snowblower out. First tank of fuel down. Got to get to the BMW exhaust somehow later. Absolutely buried. Tucker, come here. Come on.
Yay, girl!
Oh! Oh no! Alright, well, round one of snow removal is complete. Looks like round two of snow is moving in, so we'll be back out later with the snowblower. But for now, let's warm up in the garage, get the heater and some tunes cranking, see if we can get this transmission back in the M5. Yes. All about the angle of the dangle, baby. Ha She's in. Anybody ever add stuff to a list just to immediately cross it off? I feel like it helps me convince myself that I'm being productive. Just me? Okay, thought so. All right, transmission is back in. Drive shaft is back in with a new seal for the CV joint back there. Got some of the heat shields back in. Just brought the massive exhaust in from the snow to let that thing thaw out so that we can get that on. But none of that matters if we can't keep oil in this thing via a stripped drain plug. So my thread repair kit, my $17 thread repair kit just arrived from Amazon. And it looks like it's already been used, so that's neat. Also, it was supposed to be here next day, and it took 3 days. So that's neat, too. I'm hoping my oil pan gasket from FCP Euro shows up tomorrow. If all goes well, we can repair these threads tonight, clean up the sealing surfaces, and then tomorrow, hopefully, we can slap a new gasket in this thing, fill this thing with some fresh liquid moly that I also got from FCP Euro. And then maybe wrestle that exhaust up, fire this thing up for the first time in like 7 or 8 days, and see if we got a clutch in this thing or what. I still got to bleed it and a bunch of other stuff, but again, can't do anything. There's no oil in the motor. So I'm gonna get this thing down. I've never done a helicoil in my life. Can we stop doing that? It's really popular in the Ford modular world. I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't had to do one yet. The 4.6 liters and 5.4s like to shoot spark plugs into another dimension. And a helicoil or a time cert, or whatever you want to call it, is a pretty common repair on those. Thankfully, you know, I haven't had to do one of those on a Cobra yet. I got lucky and just had to do the entire motor. You know, while you're in there, just put the 9 thread heads in it. No big deal. We could have just replaced this oil pan altogether. Like a lot of the parts I'm finding for this car, they are still available, but they're $700. So if we can fix it for $17 for this and then a gasket for 30 bucks, I'm cool with that. But we'll see. There she goes. Pan looks very, very clean, but we already knew that based on the oil that was drained out. Man, I wonder if we could have reused this gasket. Not like it's hard to get to or anything. I don't really know what I'm looking at. I'm not at all familiar with this motor. I assume this is your oil pump right here. There's the pickup. This is probably return tubes or something. Cannot at all see the crankcase or rod bearings. That's probably under this pan here. This is probably like the front sump, I guess. But man, doing rod bearings in this thing, I gotta imagine either the K-member comes down is probably the way they did it, and just get it to it from the bottom. I assume all these gaskets were new, or maybe they just did that one and this whole thing comes down. I'm not sure. But now we gotta see if we can repair the threads right there, and then hopefully install this thing back up and keep going on the exhaust and everything else. Let's keep her going. All right, status update. First helicoil experience. It's going really good. As you can see, the bolt is going in nice and straight. You can see the helicoil is like skipping threads. It's all right though. This is only attempt like 5. With the helicoil process giving me some trouble, I decided to move on to bleeding the clutch while I waited for my oil pan gasket to show up. After taking a step back and looking at it, I realized that the drain plug that came with the car actually had some pretty messed up threads, and it was possible that that's why the bolt was not threading into the helicoil correctly. So when my new oil drain plug came, sure enough, it threaded right in. Helicoil seems to have worked well. Bone dry. All right, helicoil is installed. I think the reason I was getting tripped up was that little feature right there that allows the oil to drain out, but I pulled up on the helicoil while threading it down and that seemed to help. Now we got no leaks, oil pan repaired, got some liquid moly in there. New gasket just showed up along with the new drain plug. Let's get the oil pan back in, fill this thing up with oil. Oh yeah, I got the clutch bled as well, so that's good to go. Wrestle that exhaust back into the car and fire this thing up and see what happens. Man, this stuff is like molasses. She's a beast. Think it's about that time. Big project, starting to get to the point where it's wrapped up. We're just about ready to twist on that key. Absolutely manhandled that exhaust back up. That thing's got to weigh 100, 120, 150 pounds. I don't know. It is a huge piece of metal. I don't know who at BMW thought that was a good idea. I guess it's great for eliminating leak points, but it is heavy. And my car has no mufflers and these tailpipes that are removable, so mine basically dumps off right there. If it was a factory car, all the way from the headers to the tips would be one piece. So anyways, use my little ratchet strap trick. Got that in. Fresh liquid moly, oil change, man filter, oil pans all sealed up. Gave it a quick once over. Used the pressure bleeder earlier, my Motive pressure bleeder. Bled the clutch. Of course, I do still need to put these on, but I could not put them on like this. These need steel wool and a polish. And if you guys remember, they were kind of crooked, so we'll straighten those out. But before I finish up assembly and, put the last of the heat shields and hangers and stuff like that on, I want to fire this thing up, make sure there's no leaks, make sure the clutch feels good, sounds good, does what it's supposed to do, before we take assembly any further. So let's do that. Let's fire it up, see what happens. All right, this is going to be difficult to do with no driver's seat, but let's see what happens. Let me turn this off. Off. Go off. It's been too long since I've had a BMW. I don't remember. Whatever. All right, sitting on the floor. Let's fire this thing up. All right, let's just make sure we don't have any horrendous leaks. Yet. Don't know what that noise is. Alright, let's see if we have a clutch. Clutch in. Got first gear. Or no, is that reverse? Oh no, it's because our parking sensors are unplugged. Let's turn that off. First gear. Right off the floor. What about reverse? Yep. Yeah, and she grabs right off the floor, which is awesome. Obviously before, it was grabbing way at the top, so feels good, clutch works. I don't know. So far, so good. This is awful getting out of here. No leaks down here yet. Don't hear any exhaust leaks. Yeah, everything seems good. So far, anyways. Sweet! Haha, yeah, buddy! This motor sounds so good. Yeah, we got an airbag light, obviously, but everything else looks good. Alright. I'm gonna shut it down before we get carbon monoxide poisoning. Maybe tomorrow we will pull this thing out in the freezing cold. We are heading back into yet another crazy cold snap. I think it's going to be like 1 or 2 degrees tomorrow morning, but maybe we'll put this thing on the ground, back it out, see how the clutch feels, moving the vehicle, and then we can get to reassembling everything else. See you guys tomorrow. about as good as we're gonna do for a first test drive. A couple days after the 28 inches of snow we got, the roads are still a mess. I just got stuck in the driveway right here, just trying to go up the slight driveway grade. And more importantly, there's still salt, a bunch of salt on the roads, and really don't want to expose this beautiful M5 to that. But the clutch so far feels great, goes into, you know, reverse and forward, or reverse and first gear just fine, grabs right off the floor, feels solid. I don't feel any sponginess in the pedal. Car sounds great. I don't see any leaks yet. We'll see once she gets nice and hot. Got a bunch done in this video, but that's actually going to do it for this one because I need to transition immediately to the front bumper and bodywork. We might be doing some painting in the next day or so, which is crazy because right now it is literally 1 degree. But we got a ton done. The clutch is done. The clutch line is repaired. We did a ton of while you're in there stuff. All the, you know, got to do it while the transmission's out. This thing should be mechanically pretty solid now. Hopefully we can get a better test drive in soon. But thank you guys as always for watching. Leave the video a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. I love reading all your comments, so make sure you guys leave a comment. Check out sullivan-co.com. Pick yourself up some swag. Got the new gray sweatshirts, the beanies for these super cold days. I gotta see if I can get this thing back in the garage, get to work on that front bumper. Catch you guys in the next one.